is happening in the world today? Lying here, with a great burden on my chest, and perhaps it's my own voice being spoken into a little speaker. Here we are, just a week away from something that resonates very strongly within me right now. The decision of the people to walk away and just leave their own party, their friends, their neighbors, and go to some other fictitious fantasy place. Comes out of some sort of inherited myth of who they are. It's a very personal decision. I think this is why it's come to such a shock to the nation and to the world, really, to see that in the matter of weeks and months, this feeling has come to the surface and can almost irreversibly alter the course of their future. And because I think it's within the United Kingdom, this feeling of apartness, being somehow separate, different than their neighbors. It's always been, being kind of an innate sense that to them, to the people wanting to move in the direction of isolation and separate from their neighbors, this is not really a shock or not really a big deal. This is what's right. So the undoing, the dismantling is just a step towards their goal, and not seen as a huge deal, when in fact it's a huge change to leave your friends. And in these dark times of uncertitude, when your own morality is questioned, and there's definitely a feeling of weakness, that turning towards this human desire to be alone and to figure it out yourself is very, very strong. To think that you don't need allies, you don't need people who share the same vision as you, because how possibly could they understand how you operate? They do not have the same worries and woes that you do, because they are not you. However, you have lived together for generations. You personally have not, but people like you, people that you respect, have. But then again, there's this arrogance that calls that somehow you are different, and you are special. And what we choose to remember throughout our lifetime comes to a point in these where we actually can matter, and all of a sudden our little insignificant, really, opinions can change something. And that's a very powerful feeling. And just because there is change doesn't mean that it's good or that we have to do it. Why take a brash approach when there's much more delicate and refined ways to bring about these changes? Aldous Huxley talked about this when he was talking about art. He was referring to the differences between high craft and low craft arts, both being equally beautiful and aesthetically pleasing, yet one has to appreciate that the constraints and the decisions and the mediums made in these elaborate compositions of form and medium have to be recognized in contrast with work that uses only one. And the same goes for actions. Really, is that the simpler brash action requires less consideration, because you are starting anew. The plan is to wipe the slate clean, therefore everything can be rebuilt in time later. It can be remade later. And it's a very warm feeling, a feeling that you're just going to fold over the past and begin again. And we root for this. We root for this behavior. This is a common feeling. Look at the bullfights in Spain. You have this arrogant fellow who is prancing around, this simple-minded, dare I say, John Bull type, and his primary objective is just to crush this dainty, arrogant, dandy fellow and run him through. And when you're on the outside, it's all just a game. You root for either or. Sometimes you might root for the bull to just crush that guy, or the bull is the brute, and there's artistry, there's complexity in this dandy fellow, and these moves, these twirls, it's so fancy. It's and then there's this simplicity of the bull, and you have these two forces together. And in our own actions, it's very pleasing to be the bull, to just put your head down and charge the brute. But we have to ask ourselves, where are we going? What are we doing? Why are we doing it? Because we want to go there, or we don't want to go there? Is something stinging us? Have the gods sent down a little hornet to sting our mulish bovine behind, like Hera sent the bee down to to Io as a vengeful punishment? Do we believe that there's something chasing us and we have to run now? I don't think so. Somehow we have to put the bovine, bullish, brutish arrogance behind us. We've inherited it. We've been bred with this idea that we are somehow are special, above, greater than, and the small actions of improvement and goodwillness and respect, really, of our friends and our allies and our neighbors, somehow beneath us. That we have more important work to do overseas with our old friends. I mean, colonies, but that was such a dirty word. That we will rekindle old friends and family who will work with us and share their bounty with us. Then we could rekindle our old, the great designer, the great bringer of light and civilization. The return. Oh, look, the prodigal father, son, leader has returned. That's how we wish to see ourselves. That's how everyone wishes to see themselves. And, this is the spirit that seems to be behind this great movement to leave, to abandon. And you have to look upon it as, no, that is an emotion. That is not a plan. That is something that can be spun into by words to do anything. And you're not really thinking about what you want to build. All you think about is, oh, yes, that longing, that gaping cavern where there once was a great meal, a great feast. Oh, the big pate, the big lump, the gargling caverns, they're so hollow. Let them be full again like they once were. It's just a feeling that I need to feel again. But see how things are achieved, that is something that is not passed on to us in symbols and in language by our ancestors and even just recent generations. We're passed on the facts. We're passed on this, that, the winner. And we get obsessed with being in this position where we can dictate. And it's my rule. And I want to be great again. And in this, we forget. And then when affronts are made on us by our friends and our allies, those concerns about well-being are met with resentment and challenge And in the heat of the moment, in the heat of the fight, the struggle, when you have all these great visions and plans, that these concerns seem so petty. Oh, I'm so undeserving of these minute affronts and challenges. Primitive, brutish behaviors. No. We must accept that there is a wrong in our world, and it is not because of anybody else. It is not because there's a hierarchy and then someone is making us do it, or no. We must look into the past and understand why is our situation like this. Well, this great myth that you keep, that you somehow are the bringer of light and civilization to the world, a great inventor and industrial creator and bringer of civilization to the world, conquest and Britishness, arrogance, that this behavior had consequences in the world, and in the places where you actually intervened. And now those past actions, these glory days that you look back on, have had time to ripen. The British pate has had time to soften and mulch and become slightly turpid on the banquet party table of the world. And the obvious thing to do, the dandy, the matador, John Bull, both a mixture of the brute and the dandy, is to look at the pate with disgust and disdain and to throw it out. Start again. We will go forth and we will take back what is ours and go back to the lands where we have once conquered, pretending like that nothing has been said and there is no history, and we will rewrite it all. This does not work. You have lived with your neighbors. You have lived. The backyard is no longer just the unknown. The backyard is the world. These were the quarrels of Europe 300 years ago. Petty feuds. They can spend their time, their energy. They can demolish their peoples. Well, only 70 years ago were we, invading each other. And all of a sudden, this seems like it was ancient history. People, these generations are still just barely alive, trying to speak to us in their feeble voices of 90 years old, that we fought for a reason. We did this for you. We did this so Europe could be together. We did this so we could be allies and friends. But no, they're old and senile. That past is so different than our reality today, when we have these people coming in here, taking away our freedoms. Don't you see that you are taking away the freedoms of your neighbors and your friends by denying people decency to live? Don't you see that you are doing to yourself what you deny to others? Let's see. So somehow, by refusing people the right to live and have a quality of life that is not too much to ask for, all they ask for you is just to, clean up after yourself and, be civil around others. Yet you would go and deny them this and then be a brute and a terrorist in your own land, shooting, killing, fighting with your fellow man. How is that any different than what you claim these other people are doing? There is no difference. It is. We must let go of the ego. We must let go of the I-O bull ego and not run. Because we are different than animals, as beasts, but at the same time, we are like this. We are in a pond. We are little frogs on our little lily pad islands, and the UK have this feeling more than the others that they are somehow separate, removed, and I think it's both of sadness and of, difficulty. There's concerns with being on an island that the mainlanders don't understand, but having this reptilian view of the world where frogs, they can only see movement, they can only see reactionary change, they can only see if something in their environment has altered, and thus they respond. Having this view on the world makes it very easy, very susceptible to emotional responses. I mean, we're not going as far as saying and anthropomorphizing frogs have emotions, but you dangle the little minnow in front of them and they see that as they'll go after it. You dangle the little trap, the little hook, the little flurry, a little flourish in the water. They go and bite. Not a minnow, 'twas a hook. Yes, you see, we can be easily duped, easily tricked by movement, by sudden exciting opportunities to distract ourselves from perhaps the sinking lily pad. Yes. Are we really captains of our destiny and of our ships if we are so willing to jump off them as soon as there is sign of trouble? No. We must rally our friends, rally our ship. Europe, rally Europe, be the captain, be the leader, and address these issues, and address them, and not jump back into this boat sailing nowhere, into what we think is, a future, but it's an illusion. No, let's fix it. Let's speak. Let's discuss. Let's address our concerns, our grievances. And let's find the people who can be representatives of these grievances and follow them and talk to them. They're not far. They're not far.